This conference will now be recorded.
Okay. Good morning, friends. In this Business Intelligence Master Program, this is our 36th session. In this session, we will see copying data from AWS S3 to Azure Data Lake Storage Gen1. So both the storages are completely new to us because we have not tried to load data into ADLS Gen1 previously, or we have not tried to read data from the AWS S3. Okay. So today we are going to see how we can copy data from AWS S3. Okay, it's a completely another cloud provider. It's a AWS. This is Azure Data Lake Storage, means Microsoft. Here we have a Microsoft cloud. Here we have a AWS cloud. So now I am trying to move data from AWS S3 to Azure Data Lake Storage. And both are public cloud or not? Yes, both are public network. So what type of IR I need to use? Azure integration runtime. But can I use self-hosted integration runtime? Yes, we can use self-hosted integration runtime as well. But here we can also use the Azure IR. There are two choices. Okay, fine. We'll see further. In today's session, we will learn scenarios. Then we will see what is the app registration. This is one of the important thing that you need to do. But in real time, as a developer, you are not going to do. But people will ask in interview for sure. Even you are trying as a developer, in interviewer will ask you what is app registration, how you will create it, how you will grant the permission. So each and everything we will discuss in this session in detail. Okay. Next, estimations, prerequisite and required resources, right? So we are going to discuss those things. In demo, we will see how to create S3 bucket. So we have blob storage, data lake storage Gen1, data lake storage Gen2. These are the storages, right? So S3 also storage. S3 means there are three S. That's why it is called a S3. Three times S. First S means simple. Second S means storage. Third S means service. Simple storage service. Okay. Simple storage service. That is nothing but a S3. Simple storage service. Okay. So this S3 we can use to store any amount, like how much data you have doesn't matter. You just can store massive amount of data in S3. There is no limit. It's kind of a data lake storage Gen2, where we have features of data lake storage Gen1 and blob storage, right? So in the same way, in AWS we have a single storage, that is object storage S3. It can store data like massively, so there is no limit in terms of storing the data. And how you are storing data is, we have a different classes based on requirement. You can store the data. So if you remember, whenever we were discussing about blob storage, data lake storage Gen2, we have seen something like access types, hot and cool, right? In the same way, in S3 buckets also we have a different classes. So if you want to access data quickly, then we have a standard. If you want to access data infrequently, we have a infrequent class, infrequent standard. Next we have you don't want to store, you don't want to access even infrequently. I just want to store my historical data. Very rarely I want to access. Then we have something called glacier. So there are different classes in the S3. Okay, so when you are when you are uploading the data, you can able to select all those options. I will show you. Next, we are going to see how to create ADLS Gen1. Okay, Azure Data Lake Storage Gen1 we are going to see today. So already we are aware of Data Lake Storage Gen2, right? Next, we will create Azure Data Factory V2. Then we will create Azure Data Lake Storage Gen1 linked service with Key Vault using integration runtime. In the same way, we will create S3 bucket linked service with Key Vault using integration runtime. Next, we will create data sets, create pipeline, run pipeline with the trigger and the monitor pipeline. So these are the things we are going to do in today's session. Let's see scenarios. So first we will see copy data from AWS S3 to data lake storage Gen1. Next, copy data from multiple S3 buckets data to data lake storage Gen1. So first we will try to copy single folder. Okay. Then we will see how to copy data from multiple folders. Okay, multiple folders will have in a S3. So you can copy data from multiple folders in a S3 bucket. Okay. Next, we will see create app registration. We are going to create the app registration. So as I discussed, app registration is basically see app registration. It's nothing but in Azure. What happens is, how we have Azure Data Factory. data lake storage Gen1, Gen2, SQL database, SQL data warehouse, Key Vault, right? We have a service called Azure Active Directory. This is the central place to manage all users, groups, permissions. Now what happens? Example, if I want to connect to the data lake storage Gen1, so I cannot give my username and password. It's a unique to me. Tomorrow I may leave the organization, right? Tomorrow I may leave the organization, so I cannot enter my username and password to connect to the S3 bucket. Sorry, data lake storage Gen1. Okay, I'm repeating again. See, you cannot. So whenever you are granting permission to particular storage, you cannot grant the permission to particular person. If you are going to grant access to particular person in real time in production, whose credentials we are going to use? If we, let's say, X client username and password you are using, that X client is leave the organization, then what happens? You need to give the another person credentials. Those and all will not work. That's why it's the same like kind of a user you are going to register with Azure Active Directory. That is nothing but an app registration. You are just going to give username. So when you give username and enter, you will give app name, or you can call it as username or app name. You will give that app name and click create. So then what happens with this name? Some registry will happen in Azure Active Directory. From that day onwards, you are like your existence will be known to Azure Active Directory. Okay, so there is a new app which can connect to the Azure services. This app is authorized. This app has a permissions to connect to the different storages, different resources. Now, will this app registration can go and access resources immediately? No, you need to grant the required permissions. Let's say if you want to allow app registration to access data lake storage Gen1, you need to grant the required permission. If you want to allow app registration to access data lake storage Gen2, you need to grant the required permissions. Okay, so we will see how you can grant the permissions, all those things. Then we will create the dataset parameter, pipeline parameters. Today we will use copy activity for each activity. Okay, so these are the things we will do, and lookup activity also we are going to use. Okay, copy data from S3 bucket to ADLS Gen1. You see here, I have a S3 bucket. In this, let's imagine I have a custody.csv. This I want to move it into ADLS Gen1. So first, as we know, we need to create the linked service for S3 bucket. Then we need to create input data set which reference to that particular file. Then I need to define my task. My task is to copy data from S3 bucket to the Azure data lake storage Gen1. Next. So output data set is basically to write data into your data lake storage Gen1. So you need to reference in which folder in data lake storage Gen1 you want to write. So to write data into data lake storage Gen1, first you need to connect. I'm going to connect it by using linked service. When I run this entire pipeline, my file will come into a particular folder in data lake storage Gen1 as a CSV, RGS, and whatever format we have selected when you are creating the output data set. So who is going to do all of these things? Azure integration runtime is going to do all of these things. Who is going to manage all these things? Azure Data Factory is going to manage all these things. But we can also use the self-hosted integration runtime here. Remember, okay? Now, data flow diagram you need to understand. So when I'm trying to copy multiple folders from AWS S3 to data lake storage Gen1, so first we need to create a data set. Like we need to have all this information in a metadata table. So we all aware of metadata table where we are going to keep all the source folders information. Each folder data should load it into data lake storage Gen1, right? So what type of folder you want to create in data lake storage Gen1? So that folder information, everything will have in metadata. So by using lookup activity, I will read metadata. It will give something like this. Cust folder I have in S3, and the same cust folder I want to create in a data lake storage Gen1. EMP folder I have in S3. So EMP folder I want to create in a data lake storage Gen1. Likewise, we have source folders, target folders. All this information I will pass it to for each. How you will pass at the rate activity of lookup dot output dot value. See, in interview people will ask how you will pass lookup output to the for each. So simply here, yeah, I am just showing it's just anyhow we will go to the dynamic content, it will give all these options. We need to remember few things at least. Okay, so don't think that I have a lot of options from Azure Data Factory, I can able to identify and do it. So at least a few things you need to remember. These things people will ask in interview, how you will pass lookup output to the for each. Okay, at the rate activity of lookup dot output dot value items equal to 4. Okay, so all these items I want to copy from AWS S3 to ADLS Gen1. First I will pass first folder, second folder, third folder, and fourth folder, something like that. I'll just pass and I will copy one by one. But in for each you can also do one more thing, that is a batch count. 4 tables will load at a time, right? 4 tables will load at a time. That is also possible. Next, so here let's say data source, whether you have data in data lake storage Gen1, whether you want to read data, whether you want to read data or write data into data lake storage Gen1, remember first to connect to the data lake storage Gen1 for reading or writing, what you need to do, you need to create a app registration. What is the app registration? As I said, you are just registering with the Azure Active Directory so that your existence will be known to the Azure Active Directory. From that day onwards, from that time onwards, you can able to access any resource in the Azure. Now, when I create a app registration, I will get some application ID. Okay, what is your ID? Next, you will get something a secret. Okay, secret is basically kind of a password. Okay, so all this information I will take, you will have something called directory ID, all this information. That is the useful information from app registration. Now to connect to the data lake storage Gen1, you don't have like access key how we have in data lake storage Gen2 and blob storage, right? So you don't have any other ways. There is only 2 ways. One is by using service principal, second one is managed identity. Managed identity means without entering credentials, you are going to grant the permission. But I don't want to go with this. I need to ask everybody to enter credentials. Now, my data is there in a data lake storage Gen1. I want to read or write. Doesn't matter. You have to do something on this data. First, you need to create a app registration. Then you just grant the permission to app registration to read and write the data. So I'll just grant I will take this app registration and I will add it in a data lake storage permissions so that this app registration can able to access the data lake storage Gen1. Now this app means it has application ID, secret, directory ID. All those are the useful information. All that information I will keep it in a Azure keyword. Okay, when I keep all this information in Azure keyword, now my data factory will come here. First data factory will connect to the Azure keyword. Okay, it will retrieve the like application ID, secrets, all those things. Then it will connect to the data lake storage Gen1. Once it is connected, then Azure Data Factory can write the data into data lake storage Gen1. It can able to read the data into the data factory. It can do both the things. See, both arrows it is. So data factory can able to write the data factory can able to read the data. Okay, but in today requirement, we are trying to write the data. You got it, friends, how it is going to work. So only this app registration for the data lake storage Gen1, but same thing you can use for data lake storage Gen2 and the blob storage as well. Okay, you can use same app registration for other things. Okay, it will work. Clear? Clear,
Malaya,
friends?
I have one question, Malaya.
Tell me.
So after doing the app registration, to whom we need to give the permissions? Can you please explain? Come again once again.
Data lake storage. So now you want to see app registration when you create. It is, see, example, when you join in a company, what happens is those people will generate username and password. We have username and password, right? Let's say. So you will have n number of projects are running, but you will not be able to access all the project details, right? So they will grant you required permissions so that with those username and password, maybe in SharePoint or wherever it is, so you are going to access some limited files based on what is required for you, in which project you are working. In the same way, this app registration means I generated the username and password. Now this app registration, if it wants to connect to the data lake storage Gen 1, I need to add this app registration in a data lake storage Gen 1, so that this will access the data lake storage Gen 1. Now if I take this registration case and if I add this app registration in data lake storage Gen 2, I can able to access data lake storage Gen 2 with the help of this app registration username and password. Clear, Pawan?
Got it, Malaya.
Don't worry, I am going to show you, but here I'm just explaining the theory, but I will show you everything practical. Okay, don't worry. Now we'll see more about app registration. Okay, see, app registration is nothing but register your applications to use Azure Active Directory. You are registering your applications to use Azure Active Directory. Why? Because it's a central place where we will control all the permissions. It's kind of how we have a mind in our human, right? So based on mind instructions, brain instructions, right? So we are going to follow the things. We will do the things in the same way. So here Azure Active Directory is the kind of a brain to this entire Azure resources. If you want to access anything, you need to have a proper permissions. All these things will be controlled from the Azure Active Directory. Okay, register your applications to use Azure Active Directory. Registering the application means that your developers can use Azure AD. Azure AD is nothing but Azure Active Directory to authenticate users, request access to user resources. So now when I'm trying to read data from data lake storage Gen 1, now what happens? Whatever username and password you are entering, those will be verified in the Azure Active Directory whether this is a authorized person or not. So those will be authenticated. If you have a proper permission, you will go and access the data lake storage Gen 1. Next, any member of your directory can register an application. Okay, app registration anybody can able to do except guests, otherwise known as a creating an application object. You can say app registration or application object, whatever you can call, everything is same. Okay, next, registering an application allows any users to do the following things. One is get an identity for their applications that Azure AD recognizes. So now from that, after registering, Azure Active Directory can recognize you. Okay, because you are a member of the Azure Active Directory. You are already registered with the Azure Active Directory. So from that time onwards, Azure Active Directory can able to recognize you. Next, get one or more secret keys that the application can use to authenticate itself to AD. You will get something called secrets. You are going to use that secret to authenticate to Azure Active Directory. Okay, you are going to check whether you have a permissions to that particular resource or not. Secret is nothing but it will allow you to check whether you have a permission to that or not. So I will tell you how you can create secrets and all those things. Now how to create app registration is, you just search here app registration, you will get app registration. You just have to provide the some name. Okay, just give some name. Then when you submit, you will see application ID you will get here, directory ID you will get. If you want to generate secret, you need to go here and you need to generate the secret. Okay, that's how I'm going to do. Now data lake storage Gen 1. What is data lake storage Gen 1? So we don't have a data lake storage Gen 2 previously. Later it is introduced with the help of all the good features of Gen 1 and blob stores they included in Gen 2. But basically we have previously data lake storage Gen 1 and the blob storage. Okay, now you try to understand here. Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 1 is an enterprise-wide hyperscale repository for big data analytic workload. Okay, it's a enterprise-wide hyperscale repository for big data analytic workload. What is hyperscale repository? So there is no limit. It can massively scale. It can store unlimited data, enterprise-wide data. Okay. Next, Azure Data Lake enables you to capture data of any size, type, ingestion speed in one single place for operational and exploratory analytics. Basically, Data Lake Storage Gen 1 we will use, or Gen 1 or Gen 2. Gen 2 came recently. But before that, Data Lake Storage Gen 1 is preferred when you have multiple sources. Bring data from multiple sources. That data can be any size, it can be in any format, it can store all formats of data. So that's why see any size, any type. Okay, it can bring the data and it can ingest data into the data lake storage Gen 1 with a high speed. So once you bring data from different storages and keep it in a single place, that is data lake storage Gen1, it will be easy for you to apply the analytics. Okay, so that's why it's a and exploratory analytics. You can able to operationalize your exploratory analytics. Next, data lake storage Gen1 can be accessed from Hadoop systems like available with Azure HD Insight cluster. Next, we can also it's available with Azure Databricks and many more ways you can able to access the data from the data lake storage Gen1. It's designed to enable analytics on stored data, and it is tuned for performance for data lake analytics scenarios. So it's completely, so if you want to apply, so it's as I mentioned previously, right? It's a unlimited data storage. There is no limit. So when we don't have any limit, what happens? All the data will be there at a single place. It will be easy for you to do the some kind of analytics, and if you want to get better performance, you can do the performance tuning, all those things you can able to do it here because all your data at a single place. Next, data lake storage Gen1 includes all enterprise grade capabilities. So what are the good things with the data lake storage Gen1 is it will provide you better security. You can do some kind of encryption when you are storing your data. So it's a managed, you are not worrying about managing and take care of the data lake storage Gen1. Everything will be taken care by the Microsoft. Scalability, as I said, scalability means so there is no limit. It will increase as much as you want. It can scale. Reliability means whatever data you keep it in a data lake storage Gen1, that will be there always. Okay, you are not going to lose any data. It's a reliable, you can able to trust 100% whatever data. So let's say if I give this particular file to him, whether he will like he will leave this file somewhere, such kind of worries you don't need to worry. Once you store some data in data lake storage Gen1, it is reliable, it will be available always. Okay, it will be guaranteed that you are not going to lose any data. Availability means whatever data you have in data lake storage Gen1, that data will be available always to access. Okay, if you want to access and read, if you want to check what is the data, okay, all those things, it will be available for 99.99999%. So most of the time it will be available, except very rarely it may not be available due to internal issues. Okay, next, data lake storage. So how you will grant permission is once you create a data lake storage Gen1, go to access control IAM, click add role assignment. You need to grant a owner access to user group or service principal. You just select service principal and you need to add the app registration name. Here I need to grant the app registration name. Okay, understood. Next, estimations, as we know how many linked services we need. So one linked service is required for S3 and one linked service is required for Azure Data Lake Storage Gen1. So we already have seen how you can create the linked service parameters, right? So that particular thing here also we can do, but we'll see. Next, how many data sets we need depends on reference points. How many activities? One copy activity I will use to copy data from AWS S3 to data lake storage Gen1. But if you want to copy multiple folders of S3 into a ADLS Gen1, you need to use for each as well. How many pipelines? One pipeline. What type of file we are going to use to copy data from S3 bucket to ADLS Gen1 is Azure integration runtime, or you can also use the self-hosted integration runtime. Prerequisite, we should know what is S3 bucket, data lake storage Gen1, SQL DB. SQL DB I will use to create the metadata, key vault, schedule, trigger, Azure data factory integration runtime types, linked service, dataset, activities, and pipeline. So all these things we are aware. Let's go with required resources. S3 bucket I will create, data lake storage Gen1, Azure SQL DB, key vault, and the Azure data factory v2. So these are the resources I will create, friends. Okay, these are the slides I have. Any questions before I go with the lab? Okay, come here. First, do one thing. Can you just log in into the AWS? So how to create AWS account, I will explain later. But you see, once you have AWS account, you will just go with AWS console login. Click on this AWS management console. Click on sign into the console. It will ask username and password, but like today morning I have verified whether my account is available or not. So that time I entered my credentials. So that's why I'm able to enter into this. Okay. Now you come here, you see here like how we have virtual machines, right? In AWS, we have something called EC2. Okay. Next we have something called, mainly we are focused on analytics, right? Here you come to analytics. So you have how we have data warehouse. Here we have something called image on Redshift. EMR, it's kind of a Spark, how we have Azure HD Insight and Databricks, right? Next, data pipeline. This is a kind of a your Azure data factory. Okay, AWS Glue, it's kind of a, again here you are going to write the Spark code. Okay, here you are going to, it's kind of a metadata, so you are going to create the read the metadata you can store, and you can able to create from the Athena. And this is kind of a ETL service. Again, you can call it as a, sorry, you can call it as a Azure Databricks or something. Okay, now click on this, come down. So we have Azure Active Directory. In the same way we have IAM, Identity and Access Management. We have similar services we'll have. Okay, all similar services we will have here also. Next, when you go here, you see we have a something called RDS. RDS is exactly kind of a your SQL database. So if you go inside the relational database service, we'll have Oracle database you can create, and you can create MySQL, Postgres, SQL, okay, Aurora. So there are different RDS instances you can able to create it. But now we don't want all these things. See, storage. In storage we have a S3. See, S3 Glacier I have explained, right? It's basically to store your data in a compressed format, which is not accessed frequently, which is kind of a historical data. You want to store it, then you can go with S3 Glacier, but S3 Bucket, okay, this is the service that we need. Okay, click on this S3 now. Okay, once you come here in S3, so I just deleted all the buckets which I have. Now you see I don't have any buckets. So bucket, if you are creating a bucket, is nothing but you are creating one storage. Now if you want to create a bucket, you can click here or click here, anything is fine, just click create bucket. My AWS bucket. So remember, the bucket name is globally unique. Example, I will say it will not throw error now, but it will throw error later. Okay, so when you are submitted for creating, right, it will throw error. Okay, now it will not throw error. See, it is not throwing error, but when you try to submit, okay, please create this bucket, it will throw error saying that name is not unique, somebody else has taken. I will show you that. Next, exactly same like how we are going to select region in Azure, right? We have a regions here also. You can just select which one is near. Near is our Mumbai, so select Mumbai. Next, so do you want to, like, see here you have something like copy settings from an existing bucket. You have already another bucket you have created with the same configuration, of other bucket. You want to create this bucket. Okay, the replica other bucket configuration you want to put it in this, then you need to select the existing bucket. Bucket. We don't have existing bucket for now. So bucket settings for block public access. So nobody can able to access data which we have in the storage if you block it. So that's why I will unblock it so that we can able to access this data. When you make this data available to public, you need to acknowledge it. So this is I'm very sure that with my acknowledgement I am just making this particular bucket as a public. Next, so bucket versioning means exact like how we have a kind of versioning in code versioning tools, like we have a Git and we have Azure repos and multiple ways we can able to maintain the code versioning, right? What it means, so let's say now I have hello, next I have overridden with hello world. Now what I realized is hello world is not correct. I want to go back to the hello. Then if you enable the versioning, what it will do, it will just keep on maintaining all the previous changes. It will maintain all the previous changes. So what if you want to go back, if you want to restore to the your original code or whatever, you can able to go back and restore the previous versions, right? So likewise bucket versioning, if you want to enable, you can enable, but if you're not enabling, doesn't matter, later also you can enable. Okay, all other things, see, you have something called encryption. What do you want? Server side encryption. If you want, you can enable so that your data will be encrypted. If you don't want, just let it be disabled. I don't want to go to advanced setting, just click create bucket. So now you see, when you click create bucket, what it is saying, bucket with the same name already existed. So as I said, it's a globally unique, so that's why I would say cloud pandit S3. Come down now, click create bucket. So bucket is created. Okay, this is the bucket. Go inside this bucket, go inside this bucket. Okay, so first let's create a folder. This is a CSV data one. Come down. So here you see server side encryption and all other things. So for each folder level also you can enable the encryption. I don't want any encryption. Click create folder. One folder I created. See, okay, see, this is the bucket. In this bucket, this is my first folder. I want to create one more folder. Click create a folder. CSV data 2. Click create folder. Let's create one more folder. Click create folder. CSV data 3. Come down, create folder. Now you see you have CSV data 1, data 2, data 3, 3 folders. Go inside CSV data 1 folder. Okay. So now I want to upload the data. You have see, if you want to create a subfolder, still you can create folder. But I want to upload data directly into this. Click upload. How to upload is click add files. Go to Cloud Pandit dataset. Select cust1. Cust1 file should be there in a cust1 data. CSV data. Yeah, CSV data one. I am just uploading cust1.csv. Then for this particular file, you see enable bucket versioning. You can enable. Okay. Click upload. I don't want to enable bucket versioning. Upload it. So now I uploaded the file. Now I want to come back. Click on this. Just click on this. See, now I am in a folder level. Let's go inside CSV data one. You see whether file is available or not. Yes, it is available. Let's click on this bucket. Now go inside second bucket. Let's click upload file, add files. First to a file I will upload. Okay, come down, just click upload. Okay, this file is also uploaded. Click on this and click on this. Okay, you're outside. Okay, now you check CSV data 2 folder. Yes, see cust2.csv. Okay, now go to your cust data 3. Okay, let's upload a file, add files. This is cust3.csv. Click upload. Click on this. Click on this. Okay, now I have CSV data 1, CSV data 2, CSV data 3. Go inside CSV data 3, you see cust3.csv. So now we have data. We have data. Now to connect to this particular AWS account, what I need to do, click on this, click on my security credentials, right click, click open link in a new tab. Okay, so in where we are, identity and access management, IAM. So identity and access management, IAM. So as I mentioned, how we have Azure Active Directory for AWS, IAM is a service which is going to control full permissions. Now go to access keys. I already have one access key, but I did not remember those details. So that's why I will just delete the existing one. Okay. So to deactivate, you need to enter this. 1 second. Yeah, delete it. Take it. Deactivate, just delete it. So that will be deleted. See, status is deleted. So it will be vanished in some time. But I want to create a new access keys. Click create new access key. That's all. It is generated. Show access keys. So this is my access ID. This is my secret access key. So you can do one thing. You can copy it. Otherwise, you can just say download key file. So one file will be downloaded. In this file, you will have all the information. I'll just close it. I have full details I downloaded. I have here. Okay, fine. Once we have these two information, let's go to the Azure now, portal.azure.com. So our source side, everything is ready. Okay, our source side, everything is ready. Now we are going into, let's close this tab because I don't require this tab anymore. Let's create our target. Our target is data lake storage Gen1, right? How to create data lake storage Gen1? Just search here data lake storage. See here you have something called data lake storage Gen1. Click on this. Click add to create the data lake storage Gen1. It's a free trial. Resource group, you just select the okay, we have not created any resource group. Let's create here resource group. Cloud Pandit BI master program. Click OK. So in which location it is? It is in yeah, let it be East to S2. And the name of the service is Cloud Pandit ADLS Gen1. This is the storage name. See, all these details are same. Click pricing. So do you want to go with pay as you go or monthly commitment? Pay as you go or monthly commitment? Monthly commitment means, so it will take some bulk amount at this moment, whether how you are using doesn't matter. Pay as you go means based on your requirement, you are going to make the payment. Okay, I will go with pay as you go. Click encryption. See, pay as you go, it's nothing but it's not like a pay as you go subscription. So from your free trial amount also, how you want to deduct the money, deduct the money. So you want to deduct money through monthly commitment or pay as you go. I want to go as monthly payment. Okay. Sorry, I want to go as pay as you go, friends, because monthly pay commitment means I will just use for 1 hour, but it is going to consume a lot of money if I go with monthly commitment. Encryption. So I don't want to change any encryption. Let it be default. Tags, key value pairs, then click review plus create. Okay, so now you just click create to create the data lake storage Gen1. Okay, it will create, friends. Now let's go to the portal.azure.com and we will create the app registration. Okay, we will create the app registration. Okay, to connect to the data lake storage Gen1, we need a app registration. Let's do that. Here, we directly search here app registration. Click on app registration. Click new registration. Here you need to give the name, username. Okay, let's say here I will say Cloud Pandit user, Cloud Pandit user. Okay, this is the name you need to remember. This is the your app name. This is the app name. Okay, just click register. So this is the app name. Next in this you see application ID is this. Next directory ID is this. DID. Secret is this. How to get the secret? Go to certificates and secrets. Come down. Click new client secret. So you just give something, it's a password which should be available for 1 year, then it should expire. If you want to generate a password which is not expired, okay, never expired, you have to select now. So anyhow, we are going to use only 1 year. Just use this and copy this. This is your, sorry, this is your secret. Okay, this is your secret, friends. Okay, don't confuse. This is your secret. Copy and paste it here. Okay. Now I have all this information. What you need to do, come back to data lake storage Gen1, check it, it should be available by now. It is still creating. Yeah, let it create, no issue. We will grant the permissions later. Okay, fine. Let's go here and create our other resources. What are the other resources I need? I need to create the Azure Data Factory. I need to create Azure Keyword, Azure SQL DB. There are 3 more resources. Let's click on keywords. Click add to create the keyword. Come down. So resource group is this one. Azure keyword name I will say Cloud Pandit, AKV 1208. H2S click access policies. I need to add the my data factory name, but I have not created data factory, so I will grant permissions later. Okay, just click review plus create. So as of today, we are seeing granting permissions when we are creating the key vault itself, right? So after creating key vault, how you can grant the permissions, that we will see today. Okay. Now come here, you open portal.azure.com. Let's create Azure Data Factory. Click on Data Factories. Click Add. This is a Cloud Pandit PA Master Program. East US, so ADF name will say Cloud Pandit PA ADF to 1208. It will be available. Git configuration, I will configure it later. Click review plus create. Click create. Okay. Everything will deploy fine. Now our final service that I'm going to create is Azure SQL DB. We'll see how to create Azure SQL DB. Let's click on SQL database. Click add to create the SQL database. Resource group, you just select the existing resource group. Database name, I will say Cloud Pandit SQL DB. I will create a new server. Cloud Pandit SQL server. This is my username. This is a password matching. Click OK. Then remaining things we know, just click review plus create. Okay, fine. Now we will try to grant the required permissions. So first, to connect to the data lake storage Gen1, we need to grant the required permission. That is, we need to add the app registration here. How to add the app registration? Go to access control IAM. Go to access control IAM. Click add. Click add role assignment. So here role is, I am just selecting owner, user group service principal. Here select. So what is your app registration name? App registration is, here is the app registration. Grant this app. Okay. Select this app registration and save it. So this is how I need to add my app registration in data lake storage Gen1. Pawan, clear? Rest of the people, everybody is clear, friends?
Yeah, yes.
Now come to Azure Key Vault, or not Azure Key Vault. Go to Data Factory, click Go to Resource. First, take the name of Data Factory, go to Azure Key Vault, go to Resource. Let's say add Azure Data Factory in the Azure Key Vault. Okay, how you will do it? Go to Access Policies, click on Add Access Policies. Here you need to grant the full permissions. Click Select. I'll just search for this data factory. Select this data factory. Click Select. Then click Add. Not only adding. So one main important thing most of the people will forget is you need to save it. You need to save. Okay, now it will be available. I can able to keep my secrets. Come to secrets. Let's store the AWS S3 credentials and the service principal credentials. Okay, now I will come here. I will say ADLS password PWD. ADLS password is nothing but this one, the secret. Copy this secret without spaces. Careful. Okay, copy and paste it and create it. Okay, now click generate/import. Now I will say S3 password. S3 password. So how to get the S3 password? You downloaded this file, you just open this file. Okay, see here you have a access key, secret and the key, both you have, right? You need to select from here to here. Create it. Okay, now I have both the things. Now you go to Azure Data Factory, click Author and Monitor tab. Let's go to Manage tab. First, let's connect to the Azure Key Vault. I will say Key Vault. Select Azure Key Vault. Click Continue. So this should be ADLS Azure Key Vault. So select Azure subscription. Key Vault is this. You can create it. Let's publish this because we need to publish this particular linked service to use it in other linked services. Okay, it is published. Now click New. Let's connect to the S3. So select S3. You see image and S3. Click Continue. Okay, here you just say linked service for S3. So by using access keys, yes, access keys. So access key ID, what is access key ID? This is the access key ID. Select this access key ID. Okay. Now Azure Key Vault. From Azure Key Vault, I need to read the secret. From this, I need to say S3 PWD. Okay, in this I kept my password. Okay, now let's test the connection. Okay, connection successful, you can create it. Okay, now let's create new linked service for data lake storage Gen1. Data lake. See here you have a Gen1 and Gen2. So we already connected to Gen1 multiple times. Let's connect to the Gen1. Click continue. This is ls underscore ADLS Gen one. The auto result integration runtime subscription is free trial. Data lake storage name is this one. So I don't want to go with managed identity. We need to go with service principal. Okay, service principal ID, that is nothing but this one. Keep it here. So password, I need to refer it from the keyword. So take this. Secret name is ADLS PWD password. Test the connection.
The sequence
What?
you created, right? ADLS PWD already.
Yes, yes. ADLS. Okay, do one thing. Now come to data lake storage once again. Okay, after granting this, go do one thing. Go to resource. One second. Now click on Data Explorer. You see something like access, right? Just click on access. Here you need to check. See cloud funded, not cloud. See assigned permissions. Here also you need to add the that particular app registration. Okay, what all permissions you want to get? Read, write, execute, full permissions to which, to whom? That app registration name. This is a name. Okay, to this person. Just add this person here. Click add. Click select. Then do you want only to that particular folder, or you want to all the subfolders, all children folders? Yes, everything. And whenever I create a new folder, that new folders also should get the permission by default. Okay, just click OK. Okay, it is saved now. We'll see this time it should be successful. Okay, so do not worry because it may not sync. Just now I have added, right? So let's try to do Gen1 data lake storage Gen1 continue. Auto resolve integration on time, free trial, data lake storage Gen1, and the permissions is like service principal ID. So that is nothing but this. Then service principal key. Service principal key, I will just let's check it. Sometimes maybe I have entered wrongly or something. We'll try to hard code it and test it. If it is working, then we will try to refer it. Okay. Connection is still failing. Let's go back to the storage. Click on Data Explorer. Refresh this. Click on Access. Cloud Pandit user is added with full permissions. The only thing is we need to wait some time. We have added. The only thing is it will not sync immediately. It will take some time to sync. Everything is fine. 1 second. Okay, fine. Let's publish this and we will try once again. Okay, this should work. Only the reason is it is not synced, I think. There's the storage, right? So let's refresh it and check whether it is saved or it is simply showing. Click on Data Explorer. Go to Access. Yes, we have added. Everything is fine. We should be able to connect. Only I think the reason is it is not synced right. Data lake storage Gen1. Click continue. And the name we will change later. This. Let's not copy like that. This is my secret, right? So I'll just paste my secret here. This is the application ID. Copy this application ID and keep it here. Test connection. Let's go to enter manually. So what is our storage name? Our storage name is this. I'm just trying all the ways, but it should be successful 100%. Subscription ID. The subscription ID also you can get it in multiple ways. Take subscription ID. So in multiple places you will see those things. Okay. Subscription ID. A resource group name. In which resource we have launched this? We launched it in a resource group. This is the one. Let's test the connection. Oh, it is in a wrong directory. Just change it to this one. Let's test the connection. Oh, it should be only ADL. It's not ADLS. See, connection is successful. Only thing is, I think there is small. So when you see, when I entered manually, it is successful. The reason when we go with this, one second. This time it is, even if you test connection now, it should be successful here also. See, now you understood. So it is just it just takes some time to reflect here. You understood, friends? I have not changed anything. See, now I'm going with Azure. From Azure subscription I selected. Previously I entered manually, I tried, it is working, then I come back to the auto selection of these things, it is working. Okay, now I will refer this key from the keyword. You just come here, secret name you need to say ADLS key, test connection. See, this time it will clearly says ADLS key was not found in the keyword.
ADLS password, I guess. PWD.
Yes, PWD. Connection will be successful, don't worry. Now create it. Yes. Now come to author tab. Let's create a pipeline. PL for data. S3 to ADLS Gen2. Okay, just click here, move and transform, bring the copy data activity. Let's try to copy one folder first. Okay, what is your source? Source is S3. Go to S3, select S3. So what type of file you have? CSV. Click select. Let's say you can say DS for S3. This is source 1. This is our source 1. Okay, linker service. You can select linker service. Then it is select giving the bucket directory. All these things you can browse it. See, this is the bucket. In this we have some subfolders. You just have to select those things. This is the subfolder. Let's say first folder I want to copy. First as header units CSV. So as we have this folder, you can just import schema. Click OK. This data I want to load it into data lake storage Gen. Okay, let's go to sync. Here source side we selected the folder, so you need to give the wildcard file path. So all the files which I have in a CSV data one folder I want to get. Those things I want to load it into sync. So in sync, where you want to load, what is your sync? My sync is Gen1. Data lake storage Gen1, click continue. So how you want to load? Let's convert these files from CSV to JSON. So DS for ADLS Gen1, say sync 1. This is sync 1. Select linker service and here directory ID. We have not created any folders in this, right? So what you need to do, you need to create here. Okay, let's say run first run. Okay, this is the first run, output will be there here. So file will be loaded as it is into this particular folder. As you don't have any folder here, you cannot import schema. Click none, then click OK. With these details, I'm going to debug pipe. Click debug. So it is successful. You just click on this. See, one file is read, one file written. The number of records read is 5, number of records written is 5. Okay, now come here. Where storage? Go to storage. Click on overview. Click data explorer. See, first run folder created. Go inside this. You see cust1.json. So if you go inside this, you'll have a JSON format. Data is written in a JSON format. If you want to download the file, you just click on download. It will download. You just click on download. File will download. Okay, so this is the CSV data. Clear? How many of you clear on this, friends? Anybody need any clarification here? Okay, if everybody is fine, let's maintain our metadata first. Go to SQL database. Okay, meanwhile, let me open Azure Data Studio. Double click on this. Come back. See our SQL database. Go to resource. Turn on the firewall. Set server firewall. Turn on this. Now just click add client IP. See IP client IP is added. Then save it. Okay, fine. Now go back. Take the server name. Go to Azure Data Studio. Let's connect again. Click on this new connection. So server name, I'll just paste it here. Then it says SQL login. Let me enter username with password. Next database. So database name you need to enter here cloud container. SQL DB connect. It's green, right? So right click on this, click new query. So here let me just create a table. Okay, create table metadata. Sure. Right click on this, click new query once again. Let's create a table. Okay, create metadata. Create table metadata. Okay, create table metadata. Here you need to say source fn folder name is varchar 50. Sync fn is varchar 50 is active equal to int. Okay, so with these three columns, I will insert the records. Insert into metadata. Values are source folder name. What is our first source folder name? Let's go back and check it in a AWS storage. CSV data 1, CSV data 2, CSV data 3. Okay, come here. Let's say CSV data 1. This data I want to load it as a CSV. What kind of folder we will create? Output 1. The CSV output 1 is active, yes, 0. Okay, so with this, I can able to go and so let's say this is CSV data 4. Okay, CSV output 4, but this particular folder is not available. I will mark it as a inactive. This is a active. This should be 3, and the CSV data 3 folder is already available. That's why it's a active. This should be 2. CSV output 2. Okay, so I'm just creating with this. I'm creating the metadata. Four rows affected. You see here we have a 4 rows affected. Okay, 4 rows affected. These details I want to read it from the Azure data affected. Come here. Let's create a new pipeline. This is this. Why I am repeating these many times is multiple folders, multiple tables is in real time in interview. People will not ask how you will copy single file or single table, right? So we know, they know that we have a multiple folders or multiple tables. So ultimately they are going to ask you how you will copy multiple folders, how you will copy multiple tables. So this is what you need to focus on. Okay, PL underscore data underscore S3 to ADLS Gen2. Okay, this is basically multi folders. It's multi folders. Click OK. Now multi-folders, click OK. The first activity, what is first activity? Lookup, bring the lookup. Okay. So come here, let's click new. So where we have our metadata friends in SQL database. To connect to the SQL database, what I wanted to do, SQL database connection string, I will create it in a Azure Key Vault because I don't want to hard code anything in Azure Key Vault. So everything I want to keep it in a Azure Key Vault. Okay, let's paste it here. So I'll just replace my password. I have given the password. Now come here, go to Azure Key Vault, click on generate / import, say SQL connection, SQL CS connection string. Okay, paste this, click create. Now go to data factory. Here, let's connect a linked service. See first, lookup activity. I'm just creating the source dataset. Click new dataset. What is my source? SQL database. Azure SQL data. Select it. Click continue. This is what friends. This is the DS for Azure SQL DB. DS for Azure SQL DB. But do you have any linked service for SQL DB? You have not created. On the fly also you can create. Just click new to create linked service. Okay, this is linked service LS Azure SQL DB. So I want to refer my connection string directly from the Azure Key Vault. Select this linked service. Secret name is, what is the secret name we have given? SQL CS. Okay. Let's test the connection. Okay, now what we have observed here, I have saved it in a small letters, but it's a uppercase. There lowercase, here uppercase. It's a case insensitive, so you can use anything with this created. So now linked services selected here. Data set I want to create. Table. Do you want to select table or you want to fire a query? I want to fire a query. I'm not selecting table. Click OK. Okay, after that, you need to uncheck this first row only. If you check first row only, it will give only first row. Now I want to fire a query. I have not selected table. What query you need to fire? Select a star from metadata. When I say select a star from metadata, I will get the inactive records also. Click preview data to see the inactive record I'm getting, that is CS data 4. I want to filter out that. Okay, there are two ways. One is where is active equal to 0 you can use, or not equal to 1 you can use. Both the conditions will work. Just click preview data. So you are getting only active records. Now debug this. Okay, I'm just going to debug this lookup itself. Only lookup I'm going to debug. Okay, let's take the lookup output. So here these are the items. Okay, just take these items. These are the items I have. Okay, this lookup output I need to pass it to the for each. So today I don't want to use add dynamic content. Okay, just click on for each. Click come to settings. Let's go with sequential. You need, I am not clicking add dynamic content. I want to type it. Tell me at the rate activity of lookup 1. This should be in a single quote. Okay, dot output dot. Okay, this is how you need to pass. Now go inside for each. You need to use the copy activity. Just use the copy activity. So what is our source data set? Let's create a source data set. Source is from S3. AWS S3. Click continue. So what type of files you have? CSV. Click continue. Say DS for S3, it says source 2. Let's use the linker service which you have. Bucket name, you can select the bucket name, but folder names, I want to pass it dynamically. First was header, then click OK. You also need to understand when I select the folder, in a folder you can have multiple files. So that's why what we need to do is we need to enable the wildcard file path. Okay. Any confusion here, friends? Any confusion? Click copy data activity. Let's do one thing. Oh yeah, come to sync now. First, let's do one thing. 1 second. These. 1 second, let me adjust these things. I'm not published, that's why we need to publish all these things. Click on this. Let's come to sync, click new, click cancel. Yeah, it's gone now. Fine. Now you see here, let me just maximize this at least. Copy data activity. I hope you are able to see the copy data activity now, right? Fine. Copy data 1. Source side, what we do, we created the data set. Now go to source, that is source 2. We need to pass some items dynamically. Just click on parameters, click new. These are the data set parameters I'm creating. Here you need to say source folder name. Okay, source folder name. This is the name I need to use it here. A dynamic content. Come down, select source folder name, click finish. Okay. Go to your pipeline. Here it is waiting. Can you tell me what I need to pass from these items? What dynamic content I need to pass? Tell me, friends, quickly.
One is source FN.
Sync FN.
Source FN. And sync FN.
What?
Source
Only
FN.
sync FN.
No, I'm not understanding, friends. Can somebody tell me what I need to pass?
@item dot source fn.
Very good. So @item dot item will have a parenthesis. Always remember source fn. Okay, this is the one I need to pass. Copy this and put it this here. Okay, next. Come to sync. Click new. What is our sync? Sync is Gen1. Select Gen1. Click continue. So I want to load as a JSON. It's a DS for ADLS Gen1. It's a sync to. Select this linker service. Here directory name I want to pass it dynamically. Click OK. Now go to sync to. Create a parameter, dataset parameter. It's a basically sync folder name. This I need to use it here directly. Click add dynamic content. You need to say sync folder. @dataset dot sync folder. Now go to pipeline again. Here I need to pass. What I need to pass there? @item dot
Sync FN.
Sync FN, good. Sync FN, okay, fine. So with this, we can able to publish all these things. Let's publish all these things first thing. Okay, next we want to schedule the pipeline. Now, what is the time? You see, the time is 26:41. I will schedule my pipeline at 8:28. Add trigger, new/edit. This is basically new. Schedule trigger, which will run at 8:28. I will run at 8:28. 8:28 a.m. Click OK. So every 15 minutes, that's okay. In which time zone? In India time zone. Select India time zone. Every 15 minutes, specify end date. So let it be, or it should be today only, but at some 10 o'clock. Click OK. See, from 8:28 to 9:56. Click OK. Click OK. Publish all. Publish. We have 17 seconds. I think it will finish. Yeah, it is published. We'll see. Now go to monitor tab. See, pipeline started running 8:28. Click on this. Lookup is running. Click refresh. It says sequential. Yeah, first copy activity is running. First copy activity succeeded. Let's go to storage. See, CSV output 1 folder is created. Now refresh this. CSV output 2 is created. Now come to data factory and check. Pipeline already succeeded, I think. Third copy activity is running. Come to storage here. Refresh this. You will see CSV output 3 also. See. Go inside this. What kind of files we have? JSON. We are writing data as a JSON. Reading CSV and writing as a JSON. So we have done that particular conversion as well. Okay, clear? Any questions, friends? Okay, let me stop the recording. We'll discuss other things.